Miking basics. Number one, especially when you're using multiple mics, pay attention to phase. Phase, as far as, I don't know how I'm going to describe this in layman's terms, but phase is, it's how the waves interact with each other. So if you're saying like a basic thing, like a sine wave, which looks like this, and that's basically a representation of a sound wave moving the air, like the air is vibrating, and that's what it's doing, okay? So if you have a second mic and it's doing the exact same thing, but because it's positioned differently, maybe it's back further, so it's not arriving at the same point, it's starting, doing the same thing, but arriving there later. I drew it so they basically lined up, yeah. But if it comes in later, yeah. Right, the waves aren't going to line up. They're not going to all combine. What happens is they wind up canceling each other. Or if you have a mic on one side, if we were miking the open back cabinet and we have a 57 pointing at the cone and then the 57 pointing at the back, now the speaker's doing this, so it's that same wave thing, okay? So sound is pushing out this way, it's pushing forward. So the forward is pushing and it's getting to this mic. But then when the speaker vibrates and it goes back this way, it's getting to this mic on the opposite side of it. So you need to flip the phase to get them both to have the same sound. If you have the phase reversed, it's going to give you a very weird, thin, hollow, you know, there's all sorts of ways to describe out of phase, but you would know it when you hear it. And I'll give examples when we get into the positioning and you'll hear what out of phase sounds like. But paying attention to phase is huge.
And you can see it in the waveforms.
You can see, right, and that is a great point of, I always say don't look, listen, because, you know, I grew up on tape. But Pro Tools, there is a benefit, and we might be able to show you and see what an out of phase thing looks like. Or I can even take a DI and reverse it and show you an out of phase, and you can hear the difference in how it cancels. And we'll be able to
And when you
use
zoom
that
in, like I do it with kick drums a lot, but like when you layer, I do electronic stuff all the time, so I'll be layering a lot of kick drums. And when you zoom in on that wave, you'll see it like this. And when you see the other one, it'll be going opposite and canceling out stuff. So all you gotta do is flip it or move it and bring it in phase. And you can, so you just want them to line up so they're not canceling each other out.
Right.
And he can hear it more easily than I can.
But it's again, it's that same thing of developing that, you know, playing around with phase and playing around with multiple mics and listening and knowing and recognizing. And once you know it, it's just like when how do you learn what's red? You know, you eventually know. You just know. Somebody tells you when you're a child, that's red. That's red. You know it, and then when you see it, you go red. You don't even go, you don't think that's red, you go red. So once you know what out of phase sounds like or phasing sounds like, then you just learn how to recognize it, and then it'll just come up and you go, oh, that sounds weird, maybe it's out of phase. Let me check the phase.